you know, there's 20 states currently with budget similar to ours, and we've learned that 19 of them have gambling. And so it's been shown in those states that that's not the way to solve our problems. I hope we're going to continue to look for other ways, and I'm sure we will with your leadership. That being said, the over and under on attendance today was 86, so if you picked over 86, I think you won.
Thank you, Senator Melton. Senator Smitherman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One of the things I want to applaud you for trying to find other options and ways for us to be able to come up with the funds we need in the general fund budget. I hope that we're able to come up with the necessary funds in the general fund budget, not only to address the shortfalls and to bring us online with some steady revenue, but also to remove every item, everybody hear me, every item in the general fund budget that we're taking money out of the education trust fund to fund. We know, you all know where we stand on these textbooks. We don't even have enough money in there for these kids to take their books home because we dumping money over in the general fund out of the education trust fund. So if we don't do anything else after we start, is if we can just release the education trust fund from having to prop up the way that we've been easing over there with that money, the chairman here will have enough money, I think, to do what we need to do in terms of fully funding transportation, fully funding the books, having raises for our teachers and support people as well. So I applaud you for the efforts of trying to find options and ways of generating revenue so that we can try to put together a complete package that will have the necessary funds for us to move forward with your fund budget.
And to that point, Senator, right now, as of this morning, the House passed out what I would call, we would all call a very bare bones budget, a budget of cuts. And decisions have to be made as we go forward in the last days of this session. Do we raise taxes? I'm not personally going to go down that path. Before I at least give the people of this state an option on this option, which they would decide. I think it's one of those issues that the people of the state need to decide. Do they want to look at gaming in lieu of tax increases? Because in the other option, unfortunately, my good friend, budget chair of the General Education Trust Fund, is I see dollars possibly being siphoned there to solve the general fund problem once again. So these are the decisions we have. They're not easy ones. And it was an easy decision for me to bring this legislation forward. But I think it's right to give the people the option to look at this. And with that, I move for favorable report of SB 453.
Mr. Chairman, I think it's important for people to know, and I know you're passionate. I know you're passionate and support, but as we go down this path and we use the serious fiscal financial problems that we're having, this will not solve the problems in 2016. This will have to be on the ballot before it can take effect. So I think a lot of people may appear this is a solution to this year's budget problems, and it is not. And I think that people need to be aware of that. Sometimes people can use a manipulate a crisis in order to justify or pass something that has long-term consequences in the appearance that it may have a short-term gain. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And I hope I haven't done that, Senator. I mean, I'm looking at this as the light at the end of the tunnel. We've got some tough times it'll go through, but I hope we can get there. But
the last time I thought we saw the light at the end of the tunnel, I think in 2009, it was a train coming the other way. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Senator Beasley.
Again, I appreciate your comments. I'm concerned that a lot of the consolidation that's gone on in the last 4.5 years, I don't know that it's really reached the magnitude of savings for the state of Alabama that was anticipated. And I'm concerned about services that are provided by many of the state agencies in Alabama that without additional revenue, and I applaud you again for bringing this package, that I don't want to see Alabamians hurt. And I think it's the responsibility of this legislature is to provide the necessary funding that we can take care of the people of Alabama who so desperately need our leadership. And again, I appreciate your leadership, and I look forward to further discussing this with you to bring a possible substitute on the floor to add Houston County to the legislation.
Thank you, Senator. We're going to do a roll call vote, but with that, I move a favorable report of Senate Bill 453. Got a second by Senator Singleton.
Mr. Chairman, before we vote,
Senator?
I'd just like to make a little comment. Several members on this committee were in a committee I was in yesterday where an option was offered to the tune of $150 million to fill part of the hole. So although sometimes people say they would like solutions, when solutions are staring them in the face, they choose otherwise. And none of us want to see services cut in the state. None of us want to see mental health patients neglected. I mean, what the people of Alabama need to know and understand today, before this vote is cast, that there is some extra money that this state does have, and it's several $100 million that's sitting in a pot that could be used elsewhere to help fund some of these vital functions of government. But since that measure yesterday was voted down, as someone who has to look to take care of the people of the state in the future, I'm almost relegated to have an option like this sent to the people so they can decide what the priorities are. And I think it's important that the average citizen does understand and know that the state is technically not broke, that there's money in a pot, but we're choosing not to use it. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and hear the vote.
Mr. Chairman, there is no money in a pot. There are projections that if the hardworking men and women across the state keep exerting their efforts in order to earn a living, and invest, and make money, and pay taxes, there are projections if we stay a fiscally conservative course that there will be some money. But at this point, they're only estimates, and there's no money sitting in any pot. Just for clarification, it's kind of like this won't solve the budget problems. There's no money in a pot. There's money that could accrue if the economy continues to improve. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, Senator. Let's have the vote.
Senator Albright?
No.
Senator Beasley?
Aye.
Senator Melson?
No.
Senator Pittman?
No.
Senator Sanford?
Aye.
Senator Smitherman?
Aye.
Senator Singleton?
Aye.
Senator Marsh?
Aye. The bill receives favorable report. With that, we are adjourned.